Two public service vehicle operators appear in court today following an altercation with two police officers. That's our top story in our Barbados Today morning news update for Friday, May the 4th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Two public service vehicle operators are appearing in court today in connection with a fight involving two police officers in the River Van stand yesterday morning. 30-year-old Travis Brathwaite of Sealy Hall, St. Philip, and 34-year-old James Andrews of Apple Hall Terrace in the same parish are facing 4 charges each that include assaulting a police constable. Now, Brathwaite's charges include obstructing Constable Dennis Murray in the execution of his duties and assaulting him, while Andrews is accused of assaulting Constable Donnet Cadogan and threatening her, among other counts. During the altercation, which was captured on video, the uniformed officer, Constable Murray, was seen repeatedly punching and kicking at least once Brathwaite, a conductor, who was also throwing punches at the officer, while onlookers openly expressed bewilderment. Meanwhile, the Alliance Owners of Public Transport has responded swiftly to the incident, calling for a thorough investigation by police while it would conduct its own. Public Relations Officer Mark Haynes told Barbados Today the last thing the Alliance wanted was tension between the police and PSV employees. Haynes said while they welcome the presence of law enforcers in the van stand, they believe there's a better alternative to simply arresting PSV workers.
We are calling the ministry to institute a system of ticketing of offenses as opposed to like arresting the guys and taking them and then clogging up the system with other court cases and so on, so they can return to their regular duties and all of that. Now, on Tuesday next, I can report this thus far out of our meeting that a representative of the NUPW will be meeting in the bus terminal to discuss the safety of the commuters and the workers.
In other news now, the Barbados Water Authority is considering asking consumers to pay more for the commodity. General Manager Keith Roy Halliday told a wide-ranging press conference at the BWA's Pine headquarters yesterday morning that while an increase in water rates was one of the revenue-earning measures being considered, it was up to the Fair Trading Commission to have the final say. Admitting that any request for a hike may not be immediate, he, however, noted that the last increase of 60% in 2009 was not adequate enough to cover the present and future financing and investment needs of the BWA, so it remains relevant.
A discussion has to be had at some point in time as to the relevance of the current tariff regime and whether or not it makes sense. This is not a discussion that can be made in isolation. This is a discussion that requires the input of a number of stakeholders. This is not a discussion that we can make solely on our own simply because we fall now under the oversight of Fair Trading Commission, and they alone will arbitrate and determine to the extent and how and what figure, if at all, we pursue is necessary. So I will say to you, Emmanuel, that it is not something we can discount. It would be silly of me to say that we will not look at it. But I can say in the immediate term, there's still a lot of work to do before we can make that presentation.
Halliday also disclosed that the BWA was currently faced with a $500 million loan bill, which is unable to service. He said the company was therefore securing grant funding from multilateral institutions to help settle part of that bill, which covers a number of capital projects. He said that apart from some assistance from the government, the BWA has so far been able to have about 10% in grant funding approved.
Our financial model as is not sustainable, has not been sustainable for some time. The financial model as is does not work. And at some point in time over the next while, we have to look at it and take some hard decisions as to how we can move towards getting a model that is a little more relevant to our needs.
Meanwhile, the public has been advised to stay out of the sea at Worthing Christ Church from 6 p.m. until noon the following day. The caution by the Ministry of Health comes in response to the daily opening of the sluice gate at the Graham Hall Swamp to ease the buildup of wastewater. Red flags, which indicate no swimming, are in place along the beach, and bathers are asked to adhere to the flags and any other signs erected by the National Conservation Commission. The Barbados Labour Party has described a billboard blunder in which its candidate for the city, Jeffrey Bostick, was wrongly presented as the candidate for St. Michael South as nothing but a simple mistake made under the cover of darkness. This came from opposition leader Mia Motley. She was speaking to reporters yesterday when she led a team of candidates to pay in their deposits to the Treasury as nominees to contest the May 24th general election.
There have been one or two slips, and indeed the one with the billboard yesterday was one, but these things happen. And as I've said to my candidates before coming in here this evening, in a campaign you do not get perfection, but you stay focused and you stay calm and you remain measured. And that is what Team BLP 2018 will give you, the people of Barbados, in this campaign, as we will give you, the people of Barbados, in government should you elect us as your government. The fact that the Prime Minister is more consumed with the billboard rather than the Central Bank Governor's report is of note to me. And we would perhaps wish that he would spend a little more time focusing on the fact that in the last quarter our economy declined, and that the targets that we set, whether for taxes like NSRL or whether for other reduction of the fiscal deficit, that we've not met those targets.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
One night, one winner, only one team can deliver. Balance, comprehensive, unrivaled coverage. Barbados Today, Capital Media HD 99.3 and 6-Gear Studios. Don't miss election night on www.facebook.com/Barbados Today, on www.barbadostoday.bb, live on www.capitalmediahd.com and on www.facebook.com/CapitalMediaHD.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Veteran Barbadian Calypsonian and cultural ambassador Anthony Gabby Carter arrived in St. Lucia yesterday for the much-anticipated Legacy concert. Gabby is as popular for his social activism as his lyrics, and in St. Lucia he spoke about his ongoing protest of beach privatization.
The beach belongs to we, and we must not let these people privatize our beaches. In St. Lucia, in Barbados, in Jamaica, in no Caribbean island. We have to preserve these beaches for our generations to come. The governments can talk a lot about development and employment and all fair and good. I am all for that. But what I am for more than even that is the preservation of the beaches for our people for years and years to come.
In more regional news, Guyana's President David Granger has described as a massacre a pirate attack last week that is feared to have killed at least a dozen fishermen. 4 boats carrying some 20 people were attacked off the coast of neighboring Suriname last Friday. The bodies of 3 men have since been found. 4 others were said to have escaped. And on the international scene, the White House warned Beijing on Thursday that there will be consequences for its growing militarization in the South China Sea, following reports of missiles being deployed to 3 of the country's outposts in the disputed region. We pick up the story in this CNN report.
Well, China has just concluded some of its largest military drills that we have seen in recent years, and these drills are particularly interesting given where they happened in some of the most contested waters in the world, that, of course, being the South China Sea. These drills culminated in a naval parade on Thursday that was overseen by Chinese President Xi Jinping, who was on hand. At least 10,000 personnel, according to the country's defense ministry, took part in these drills. It involved 48 naval vessels, 76 fighter jets. And basically what Xi Jinping was saying while he was down there is that he wants China's Navy to evolve into what he called a world-class force, to modernize. One of the ways they're trying to do that, of course, is by increasing the number of aircraft carriers that the country has. The country's only aircraft carrier, the Liaoning, did take part in this military drill.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.